G'day guys, Mac with the Outer Circle, and today we're going to talk about elitism in 30k. Is it standards or is it exclusion? So what I've done here is I put together a pretty quick Q&A type PowerPoint slide. I'm going to go through it and basically we're going to bounce off the common questions that people pose and my answer to them. So, first things first, what is the goal of exclusion? The goal is only to exclude people who don't exercise the common values of the community. And this is true of anything. It could be car racing, it could be golfing, it could be hunting. If you have people who don't want to work within the community, or they don't represent the common values of your community, why would you want them? A great example might be someone who is sexually inappropriate towards other members of the community. Just because they want to be a part of your community, it doesn't mean they're entitled to it without putting in the appropriate effort that social responsibility dictates. Is exclusion a goal to be aimed for? No. Ideally, everyone can be included. So, if exclusion isn't a goal, why have such high standards? Well, the reason we have high standards of conduct and effort is in order to ensure a consistent quality within our communities. Why does quality matter? The lifeblood of a game is a strong community which creates a hobby environment which inspires people. High quality ensures this. Okay then, who decides what high quality is? Nobody. But the rule of thumb I like to use, and it seems to me that the rest of the community does, well, it seems to be that if you try to use Forge World's standard that they publish in their books as your minimum aiming point, that's good enough. Okay then, Forge World's standard might be a bit high for some people. What if someone is incapable of achieving said standard? Look, the actual attempt or effort to do so is the goal. If someone is trying their hardest, we're not going to exclude them because they couldn't achieve exactly that level. Oh, your weathering isn't right. Oh, you used the wrong tactical squad marking here. No. Nobody starts out as a master modeler. We all have to understand that. What we want to see is that people are trying their best. So, if effort is all that matters, why don't you like 40k models in 30k? Well, it isn't the time period. It's like the knights of a medieval army fighting within a Roman army, or FA-18 fighters dogfighting ME-109s over London pretending it's the Battle of Britain. It's the wrong time period. There's no need for it. The models are out there that represent the time period appropriately, so there's no reason to use something else. What, so no 40k models are allowed? No, 40k models they're perfectly fine, but when they have no effort put into making them of the time period, apart from the paint job, it is disappointing. Now that's not to say you can't take a 40k model, paint it as a Legion, and put it in that army. If it looks right, it looks right. There are plenty of models that have the appropriate armor out there. The problem is when you take something like an obvious Primaris Marine, and you put it into a 30k army, and then just pretend like it's perfectly normal. That's where people raise the eyebrow. Why then is it such an issue? Well, the majority of the community has gone to the effort of buying, building, converting, and painting armies that tell the story of the Horus Heresy. To just use whatever you have lying around, which does a great disservice to the effort which so many put into this hobby, is just disappointing. The whole point is immersing ourselves in the game, of saying, hey, I'm contributing to this story. I am helping to fight the battles of this time period. My actions here today may affect the greater campaigns we are playing within the community. That is fun. That is building a world. You're creating your own characters. They may have a grudge with a character in a friend's army. This is what's great. And when people aren't putting that kind of effort in, it diminishes the people that are. What, so I cannot use 40k models in 30k? You can. What you do with your models is entirely up to you. Your praise from the community, however, it's directly proportionate to the effort which you personally put into your creations. So what? You think you have the right to dictate to others what they do? Look, the standard was set by the Forge World team in 2012 with the first book. Holding a community to that standard is a point of pride in what we've all accomplished. It is not done to be elitists, it's done to maintain the consistent high quality within the community. Nobody in 30k wants the game to devolve into a shit-slinging match, like often happens in 40k where people don't paint their armies or they paint them to the lowest standard. Because the thing is, we're not going out there just to play games. We're going out there to fully realise the hobby as a whole. And other games aren't doing that. Nobody wants to see unpainted miniatures on the tabletop. We want to bring on armies that every army you look at a competition, if it even can be called a competition, at a community event, that every army you look at it and you go, wow, that is great. I kind of feel like painting that army now myself. Which is often how I feel when I come away from events. It sounds elitist. Like any hobby that has ever existed, there is an expectation. Doing something outside of said expectation changes what that hobby now is. Using a different ball, for instance, for a ball sport. Maybe using... If you play basketball with a softball, or a baseball, for instance, it changes the game. Using totally incorrect miniatures for this game, when the appropriate models are out there, is fundamentally changing the core concept for no actual gain. And I think that's the key point here. The system is not improved because of your choice to use a set of Primaris Space Marines, unmodified as a tactical Space Marine squad. It's just laziness. Or worse, it demonstrates that you don't share the same principles as the wider community. In which case, why should you be invited into it? Okay, so what standard then do you expect? All the community expects is that you make an effort to represent the time period, that you don't have to be the best painter, you don't have to be the best converter, you don't have to have the best looking army. You only need to put in the effort. And no, painting a 40k model in 30k colours is not effort. Conversions are fine, but laziness is not. What if I don't want to do that? That's totally fine. And really, it is. What you do with your own models in your own time is entirely up to you. But don't expect to receive a warm welcome into the community if you show contempt for what they stand for. They were here first. They are trying to replicate that time period and immerse themselves into the story. Alright, what about true scale? That's a question I get asked a lot, and it's fine. Just put effort into it. Take Primaris Marines, change up their knees, change their shoulder pads and helmets, change their backpacks. That's true scale. Using a stock Primaris Marine is, however, not true scale. This is all that you have to do, guys. Put in the effort. A single incorrect Marine here or there within an army is nothing to write home about. But using your old 40k Blood Angels as, say, Siege of Terror Blood Angels is laziness, even if it's a killer paint job. Now, as a quick indicator of just some of the things you can get away with and everyone will not only ignore, but they'll probably even praise, here are just some of the 40k models that are out there that with little to no conversion will slot straight into any 30k army. Obviously, the Space Wolves and the Dark Angels, Blood Angels, yeah, they're gonna fit into specific armies. But all of these models are using armor that is more or less period correct. Their iconography is not too over the top. I mean, it can be a little bit excessive, but it's not crazy. Whether it's an old school Najal Stormcaller, whether it's one of the new Chaos Dark Apostle, who will perfectly fit into Wordbearer's army. Cypher there, he could fit into many armies as a Moritat with a tiny bit of conversion. The Noise Marine up there, He would make a great Emperor's Children character in 30k. Yeah, you might have to do a backpack swap or a shoulder pad swap here and there, but this is all relatively tame, relatively simple stuff, and anyone can do it. And that's the beautiful part of it. Right here is a whole host of 40k characters that can just be slotted into 30k armies, and this is for Marines alone, let alone what you can do with the Mechanicum, what you can do with the Imperial Militia, Imperial Army, the Solar Auxilia. There is a lot of stuff out there, and the game is your oyster. If you put in the effort, the community will praise it and reward you for it. Anyway, I'm Mac with the Outer Circle. Thank you all for watching this episode, and I'll see you all next time.